Hi, I am Pixel Pia, and this is Creator in the Loop. A few days ago, I asked AI to rewrite one of my blog posts. Not rewrite the ideas or change the meaning, but improve clarity, flow, and readability. And honestly, the rewrite was very good. Maybe even objectively better than my initial writing. It was cleaner, smoother, and more polished. But the more I compared the two, the more something started to bother me. Not that AI changed what I meant, but it changed how the thinking behind the piece felt. And I think that difference maybe matter more than we first realize. So let's move over to my computer and take a look at my piece and AI's rewrite. So here we are. On this side with the title, we have the original, and on the right-hand side, we have the AI version. And to be fair to AI, I think the rewrite is pretty good. And in fact, I think most people would probably prefer the AI version. The flow is smooth, the transitions are tighter, and the writing feels more controlled. And honestly, some of the edits are genuinely great. But when you look closer, as we will do, there are a couple of things. And I have highlighted them here. This part, for example, I wrote, I think part of why that feeling surprised me is because for a long time my work with AI has felt intentionally exploratory. I tested tools, I experimented with formats. In the AI version, it says, I think what surprised me about that feeling is that for a long time my work with AI has felt intentionally exploratory. I tested tools, experimented with formats. The AI sentence is much cleaner, it has a better flow, but if you look very closely, you see what changed. I didn't let this part flow. I wrote it in short sequences. I tested tools, period. And then I stopped and thought. And next, I experimented with formats. While in the AI version, it's an ongoing sentence without those thinking pauses in it. I tested tools, experimented with formats, and so forth. So the AI version, and this I noticed in several spaces in this rewrite, is increasing the flow, while my original version was more of thinking out loud. And even though AI didn't really change my ideas, there are subtle changes. For example, here, but lately I've started noticing something. A lot of the projects that seem disconnected are actually circling the same question. While in the AI version it says, but lately, and they added a comma, I've started noticing something. A better flow in that sentence. And instead of saying a lot of the projects, it says many of the projects that once felt disconnected instead of that seemed disconnected are actually circling the same question. So in the AI version, it's smoother, it's a better flow, it's more finished. While I have some hesitation in my original writing, that something seemed disconnected became that once felt disconnected, which is more definite. It doesn't feel like that anymore. And if we go a little further down, the first part here, sometimes it arrives quietly, is exactly the same. But then I wrote, when you suddenly notice, while AI prefer when you suddenly realize. Much more definite. This is, my writing is more, I notice something that I should start looking at maybe. But here I realize, more definite, more at the end point. I think this connects to something I've been noticing with AI in general lately. AI is very good at making things feel finished. Finished ideas, finished answers, finished explanations. And sometimes that's useful. But sometimes clarity arrives too quickly. And when something feels clear, our brains often stop pushing further. And that's part of what I've been exploring lately on this channel. Not whether AI is useful. It obviously is. But what happens when convenience is so smooth that we stop noticing what we're handing over? And in this case, the things we handed over wasn't just grammar. It was the feeling of the thinking itself. The rewrite subtly moved the piece from searching towards explaining. And that's fascinating to me because AI never really changed my core ideas. It mostly changed the emotional posture of the writing. And if we go up a little bit here, my original version, and I think that realization changed the feeling of the work. In the AI version, it becomes that realization changed the feeling of the work. I am more hesitant. I think that while we are much more definite in the AI version, that realization. This is a tiny edit, maybe, but it changes a lot psychological. And this made me realize that AI wasn't just editing the writing, even if the edits are very good. It was subtly editing the emotional posture of the thinking itself. So here, now you can see them both side by side. There are edits in here that I really like. And this isn't a video about AI ruining writing. It's more about noticing what the AI optimizing your writing optimizes towards. Because if I just accept the AI version in this case, because it is smoother and more a better flow, I will miss something from my original post. The feeling of the thinking process in this case. And maybe that feeling behind a blog post like this is more important than the flow and the readability, especially when it comes to reflective writing. I think the strongest part of this experiment is that AI didn't fail. It succeeded. That's what made the difference worth paying attention to. Because the danger with AI usually isn't of the obvious nonsense. Sometimes the danger is that the answer feels so smooth, so reasonable, so finished, that we stop noticing what disappears along the way. And I think that's true in writing too. Next time, I want to test this idea in a totally different direction. Apparently, I have now reached the point where I am going to ask AI to help me to learn stand-up comedy, which honestly sounds ridiculous when I say it out loud. But that is exactly what I want to try. Not that I think AI can replace humor, but because I am curious if AI can help us learn the structure of something that is so deeply human and without flattening the human part itself. So that will be my next experience and my next video. And honestly, I have no idea how this will go. But I hope to see you back here for that video. Until then, bye!